Now, Fox host Tucker Carlson loves to debate liberals on his show. And by debate, I mean basically talk over them. That's kind of what he does, let's be honest. Recently, Nomiki Konst, who was a former Bernie Sanders surrogate and now a candidate for New York City's public advocate, also a friend of the show, she decided to visit the Tucker Carlson Tonight Show to discuss the issue of climate change. She's in favor, of course, of the Green New Deal. Now, I love how Fox frames this as a discussion of, quote, why aren't liberals leading by example on climate change? So basically saying, oh, well, if you're going to use a car or a private plane or a computer, well, then you can't lead on climate change. Oh, well, look, while individual actions do have an impact, it's also majorly driven by government and by industry. Like, a lot of people will point out that the agriculture industry, and specifically the cultivation of meat, does contribute a lot to climate change. Not only that, but you also have fossil fuel emissions, car emissions, leading to massive changes in the climate, and by releasing tons of carbon into the atmosphere. Well, that's really important. That's actually more important than if you leave your light on for an hour, which you probably still shouldn't do, but nonetheless, you got to look at scale and you got to look at perspective, right? So now let's go to that discussion here where Carlson, of course, he's going to ask about, okay, here's the problem. We know the problem. What are the solutions? Let's take a look.
Progressives understand that this needs to be a huge policy change. The place where we are right now, if we increase the temperature 1 degree, you and I won't be living in D.C. and New York anymore.
Okay, but
we will be displaced.
No, I want to talk about the public policy.
Money.
Okay,
yes,
I want to talk about the public policy solutions that will flow from the predictions that you're making. Is there any solution you've ever heard of that doesn't increase the price of energy? I've never heard of one.
Well, okay, so if you're going to be focused on the price of energy, we're not going to have a planet in 10 years.
Hold on.
We have to talk about changing.
Wait, hold on. I thought you cared. I thought you cared about working people.
We're going down a rabbit hole. I want to talk about the solutions. The solution would be a Green New Deal, moving to 100% renewable energy, forcing the companies that are jacking up the prices on working people to actually reduce their emissions so that working people aren't displaced, so working people don't have to pay the cost of hurricane damage and have clean water, and the water's not being privatized.
Volume is not the same as an argument, okay? So just really simple question.
You don't like opinionated women, do you?
You don't like opinionated women, do you? Classic. That was fantastic. No, look, theater-wise, it was great. I mean, she basically shut that down and kept on topic, which, look, Tucker Carlson, the thing that he loves to do is to get people off topic and to put them on defense. She did not fall for that bait. She's like, no. You're going to stay on defense because here's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Green New Deal. And we're talking about what we need to do as a society to actually fight against climate change. Now, look, Nomi handled that incredibly well. And by the way, the Green New Deal will actually create jobs and lower the price of energy, to answer the question. See, right now, nobody ever talks about how we subsidize the shit out of oil and gas and coal. Coal, by the way, costs more than wind energy right now. Most people don't actually know that. And so that's something that we need to talk about. That's something that shows that wind energy is actually more efficient than coal. And look, the reason that it costs less, that it's more efficient, is that it doesn't have the impacts of fossil fuels. So those impacts we are dealing with today and we will be dealing with in the future, definitely. So those are what we call hidden costs, right? Now, a good example of that is things like higher pollution leading to illnesses like asthma, which of course end up being borne by working people. So working people have to spend money battling their asthma. They spend more on health care, for example. Not only that, but you have coal ash that contaminates rivers. There's a cost to being able to clean that stuff up, right? Pipeline explosions, oil spills, natural gas spills, things that get into the environment. You end up having to spend money to clean things up, evacuate entire neighborhoods. I've seen that before from pipeline bursts, all that stuff. Not to mention the loss of biodiversity in different areas. Come on. Those are the hidden costs that you end up paying that aren't reflected in your monthly bill. So you want to talk about, costing the working class money. This already is costing us money as a nation. And look, that was Nomi's point, right? And her other point, of course, is if we don't attack this, we're not going to have a planet. All these things are happening right now. And in the long run, it is better for society to get away from fossil fuels as soon as humanly possible. And so that was the whole point. Now, back to style, of course. She refused to let Tucker Carlson shout over her. And so that's what you have to do. She made great points. She backed it up with facts. And she controlled the conversation. And I think might have earned Tucker Carlson's respect. And that is how you win a debate on Fox News. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.